The brand new Mortal Kombat is finally here. Ever since seeing the trailer for the first time, I've been super pumped for this one. Not since 1995's Mortal Kombat have we really had anything good as far as movies and TV shows go. We had Mortal Kombat Annihilation, the sequel in 1997, which was absolutely horrendous. In fact, we all kind of watch it these days, just have a big laugh and joke around about it. We don't take the movie seriously. I have no idea what the movie studios were thinking making that film, but it exists, it's out there, and hey, if you're looking for a laugh and for effects worse than the ones that you see me using right here with my green screen and lighting, then watch Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Mortal Kombat 2021 follows Cole, a brand new character in the Mortal Kombat universe, one not seen in any of the games. Or was he? Is he linked to somebody? He is! He's linked to Hanzo Hayashi, who is actually Scorpion in the game. We know him as the human version of Scorpion before he actually becomes Scorpion. Cole has a strange birthmark, which kind of looks exactly like the Mortal Kombat symbol, the dragon with the circle around it. He's born with this unique birthmark, and what this symbolizes is that he's one of the chosen one to fight for the Earth Realm in Mortal Kombat. And when he teams up with the other Earth's warriors, we got Sonya, we got Jax, Kano, who is an absolute scene stealer and I think makes this movie. And I'm pretty sure everybody is going to agree with me. Let's face it, Australians, we're funny, we're good looking, we're witty, we're charming, and we're downright hilarious. No, all jokes aside, Kano is really awesome in this, and I think he definitely makes the movie. They do kind of push him in a direction at some stage in the movie that I didn't really like, but this is spoiler-free, so I'm not going to get into that right now. I can do a spoiler discussion at some stage in a different video if people really want to see that. I've got no problem with it, but I'm sure that you're all going to agree that Kano is a damn pisser. You wonton wanker. So the warriors from Earth are working with Liu Kang and Kung Lao to try and find their Arcana. Arcana is what you find deep within yourself if you're one of the chosen few to fight for Earth Realm. And that's an explanation which ties in how regular dudes can shoot fireballs out of their hands or lasers out of their eyes and things like that. Every fighter from Earth Realm is given an Arcana power, such as Kano shooting a laser beam out of his eye. You've got Liu Kang with fire abilities, shooting fireballs. Kung Lao with his hat, which he can, throw around and basically use like a razor blade frisbee. And of course, Cole has his own set of unique abilities, which I didn't really like that much. I thought they definitely could have been better. But having said that, they may not have revealed everything just yet. So preparing for the tournament is one thing, but one thing that kind of surprised me, not necessarily disappointed, but there is no Mortal Kombat tournament. There's no tournament here. What happens is Shang Tsung is one victory away from winning a Mortal Kombat tournament. So instead of getting that one victory or fighting in the Mortal Kombat tournament, he decides to use Sub-Zero and try and kill all of Earth's warriors when he's one victory away. This is one part of the story I didn't really like that much, because the first movie, if you remember Christopher Lambert playing Raiden, there was a lot of rules. You could not fight outside of the tournament. The sideshow freaks attacked my fighters. Fighting outside of the tournament is strictly forbidden. Do you remember all that? There are no rules here. Nothing prevents anybody from fighting outside of the tournament, which kind of goes to show this isn't a tournament then, it's an all-out war. And also, what's the point of, if you don't need to fight in a tournament, what's stopping Shang Tsung from invading Earthrealm as it is? Nothing really, because they're coming into the real world. Sub-Zero is coming into the real world and trying to kill Earth's warriors already, so nothing's stopping them from invading already. So what's the point of having Mortal Kombat? It kind of makes the entire concept of Mortal Kombat pointless, because he's already invading and is one victory away and still decides to invade. But in good news, there are a lot of fight scenes here, and it's kind of like a mini Mortal Kombat that you get sort of outside of the combat tournament. They have their own sort of like little street fights and things like that, as opposed to actually fighting with tournaments and rules. In other words, you need quite a large suspension of disbelief for this movie. You already do for Mortal Kombat in general, but for this movie, perhaps even a touch more. Now onto the combat. There is a lot of really gruesome, awesome kills and fatalities, but there's just something really odd about the combat, about the fight scenes in this film. There's like a really large gap between the fights and the kills and fatalities. What I mean is, the fights in the actual movie seem a bit fluffy to me. It's like the warriors are never in danger. You've got Reiko who's swinging this massive mace at people, knocking them around. There's no blood, there's no injury. It doesn't actually look like the fighters are in any danger at all. So it's really kind of like fluffed up combat. You see these like spin kicks. There's never any show of vulnerability. There's no blood, there's no scars, there are no cuts, there are no bruises. There's nothing. They're lifting boulders off other humans and throwing them off them, and there's not a mark on the person to show for it. But then all of a sudden, bang, you get thrown into like Kung Lao's hat spinning on the ground, and you get like sawed in half. Do you know what I mean? There's no balance to the combat and then the fatality. It's like you're starting here. It's like PG rated combat, the best way I can explain it, and then all of a sudden an R rated fatality. Instead of going on about it, that's probably the best way I could have explained it. The combat is PG rated, and then it all of a sudden gets thrown into an R rated fatality. I think they could have just worked on a little bit more in the middle and actually made some of the warriors more vulnerable and had some more marks and cuts on their faces and actually shown damage during the actual fights. This excludes, however, the opening scene. I think it's like 7 or 8 minutes long, with Hanzo Hanashi's Scorpion being invaded by the Lin Kuei and Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero, well, I'm not going to spoil it because this is the start of the movie. Basically, Sub-Zero kills Hanzo Hanashi's family. They have a big fight there. There are other members of the Lin Kuei who attack Hanzo Hanashi's little hut, and I love the whole feeling of ancient Japan and being in the past, and they're in their human form. You got Scorpion and Sub-Zero in their human form. The opening scene was amazing. It is like 13 out of 13. It's not until we go to like present time in the real world when we meet Cole where things kind of go a little bit downhill, or they kind of become a little bit more average, I should say, or not as exciting as the opening scene. I don't really mind that they introduced a brand new character, to be honest. Like Cole, it's fine. There are new characters being introduced to Mortal Kombat all the time in the game, so I don't really mind if the same thing happens in the movies, as long as it works. Cole, I think, was a little bit weak. The character, the actor's awesome, but I think they could have given him some better Arcana superpowers, unless they're trying to build up towards something. Also, I thought that he was going to become Scorpion. He doesn't. And then for a while I thought he might be Johnny Cage. He is not. And that's the other thing. Why isn't Johnny Cage in this movie? He does not appear in this at all and is a fan favourite. Instead, they decide to use characters like Reiko, who nobody really likes or talks about. But if we're talking about favourite characters, one of my all-time favourite characters who's only appeared in one game, I believe she was only playable in Deadly Alliance. It's Nitara, the vampire from Outworld. She appears in this movie a total of 2 times, and after the second time I don't see her again. Very, very disappointing. She doesn't say not one word. She doesn't do anything. They totally wasted her. And it was a lovely surprise to begin with, but then I just don't understand what was the purpose of Nitara in this film to only be shown twice before something tragic happens without any spoilers. She was only playable in Deadly Alliance, I believe, but she did appear in some other Mortal Kombat films before people correct me, but I'm pretty certain that she was only playable in Deadly Alliance. Anyhow, overall, the film for fans will definitely kick ass. A lot of awesome fatalities here. Some decent action, but like I said, it feels like PG rated combat, which leads into R rated fatalities. Kind of needs to be a bit more balanced out in the next Mortal Kombat. There is no Mortal Kombat tournament in this film, which I didn't really mind. It's kind of like a starter or a build up to some more films. I totally get that. It definitely has that kind of vibe in this. And I'm definitely excited to see what is next. Overall, Mortal Kombat 2021 gets a 9 out of 13. Sure, it could have been better. It's definitely not perfect, and I can definitely see critics giving this movie quite a hard time and scoring it low. But I guarantee you that the majority of Mortal Kombat fans out there are definitely going to enjoy this. So if you're a Mortal Kombat fan, if you grew up with the franchise, much like I did, do yourself a favor, go out and see this one.